What's going on? It's Robert Thompson-Eshun here, and today I want to actually share with you guys a video. This is basically going to be a video about me going over like a little vlogish day of my life, and I'm going to basically be taking a test, well, quiz. So I'm taking 2 quizzes tomorrow, so I kind of want to show you guys exactly what it's really like being a pharmacy major, because like now I'm at the point where school's getting a little bit harder, and basically I have 2 quizzes / 1 test or quiz per week. So I basically have like 2 either quiz and at least 1 test every single week now. So one thing I promised I would do to myself, I told myself that I would start recording more. So I'm gonna start recording the stressful times, and usually when I'm really distressed out, I usually don't record. I usually just like stay to myself, don't talk to anybody, don't talk to any friends and everything. I just stay in my room, no parents, no talking, no nothing. But this year, I try to focus on this time. And this is the new year possibilities of accomplishments, expectations being accomplished, goals being set, and goals being accomplished. And I just wanted to show off that I can do this. I can do this. Okay, maybe I can't, but we'll see. So this is my first attempt at it. I'm gonna try to actually record this one, and I just want to show you off because right now it's 6:14, and it's currently my first quiz. First one is gonna be actually my SimLab quiz, and my second one is gonna be my drugs and diseases quiz, which is a very hard quiz to do. It's gonna be 10 questions long, and basically it covers the entire material we have so far. And we've only had class for 2 weeks, but trust me, we had a class every single day, so that's a lot of material. And basically it's gonna be me cramming all night tonight to hopefully pass those 2 quizzes. They're not really that big of importance, but it just shows how much material you know so far and how much you can retain in a short amount of time. And this is why pharmacy majors are stressed out all the time, every single day, every single second. Anyway, so yeah, so this is where it starts off at. I'm gonna be doing a lot of notes from my whiteboard here. And this is one thing I like to do a lot because I mentioned in my last video, I have a video about how I study. So in that video, I talked about different ways I study. And one thing that I should have noticed or talked about was the fact that I use a whiteboard, because when I study this material now, I'm going to study each topic. So yeah, I just want to show you guys this. I'm probably not going to talk too much because I want to study a lot to have 2 quizzes tomorrow. But I'll talk to you guys either later on tonight or tomorrow. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how our life is like when you're studying for this much time. You're cramming this much material, and I'm basically probably going to sleep for maybe 3 to 4 hours, I'm estimating, so I'm studying all night. So I'm not going to show you guys all this, but I want to get right into the next clip. So let's get into it. Okay, wow. Okay, so last night, I went to sleep around like 1 o'clock. I killed my eyes today, wow. But yeah, I went to sleep around 1 o'clock, and right now I woke up at around 5 o'clock, so it's 4 hours of sleep, which is pretty good. I gave myself a good 4 hours of sleep. I was gonna just do 3, but I think 4 is okay. Basically, I went over all therapeutics, and I'm just gonna, since I have a quiz on my lab, I'm gonna go over the quiz lab stuff. And I'm gonna just read over. I have to read this document real quick about how to use, treat self-limiting patients and for cold and allergies. So I'm just gonna read the document real quick. And my friend sent me a document that he did that summarizes those material. So I'm gonna do both real quickly, and then I also have to know the brand names and drug names. And I'm gonna also get ready for school real quick. And just gonna take you guys with me real quick as we go through our first SimLab quiz, and we go through our first quiz in class. And that's pretty much it. I'll show you guys real quickly the screenshots of some of the work I did last night, and I ended up just like, because I was running out of time, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna summarize most of the material, and I skipped through a lot of it, and I skimmed a lot of the material because there's no way I'm gonna memorize the whole material tonight. So I just went through a little bit of it, and that's pretty much it. So let's get into the video. So I'm gonna get ready really quickly. So let's get right into it. Ooh, stuck down. Okay. So now that that's done, I have to actually dress up for my class because it is sim lab. So basically what that means is that this is my professional study class, and basically what I have to do is I have to make sure that I know counting points. So the main goal of this class is basically to like help pharmacy students learn how to talk to patients and counsel them appropriately so that they can actually help improve lives. Okay, what's going on, people? My day is finished. So finished my second test, and I also went to the gym, had a quick workout, and right now it's currently 3:20 p.m. I am exhausted because I literally only slept for like 4 hours last night. But I want to share with you guys real quick my day and explain to you my quizzes and my classes today. So my quiz went well, decent. My first quiz was my simulation lab quiz. Basically, this class, I just want to explain to you guys real quickly. It's a class that basically goes over how to counsel patients and how to get them to patient monitoring, like how to basically explain to them the scientific stuff and make it sound like layman's terms. So I'm basically making all the stuff I'm learning and I'm translating it into something that people can actually use in the real world that don't know about pharmacy or pharmaceutical drugs. And that class is very, very important. I feel like I learned the most in this class out of all. And like I make those mistakes, which is good for me because I'm not really good at counseling, especially because I work in retail pharmacy. And like my pharmacy is really, really busy. So even though I try to, as much as possible, to get the opportunity to talk to patients correctly, it's very fast paced and it's very, very hard sometimes to take the time and actually get to know a patient and try to help them as much as possible when you're in that setting. But with that being said though, training exercise, basically you get to go through different drugs. So like over-the-counter drugs, you have to go over actual drug therapies for patients. So basically like you're in a clinic and you're basically going through with a patient or like the mom of the patient or the relative of the patient, and you go through. And one of the problems I had a lot was that my instructor was telling me that I had a problem with finding a boundary. So like my problem was that I was very robotic, is that we have a list of things we have to go over and it's a long list. So my problem is that I constantly, when I'm doing the list, I either go too personal and I don't cover a lot of the drug interactions or like the main things that are also important to list out, or I just go through the list without actually going to personal connection. That's something I need to work on in the future because I'm able to personalize the drug therapy with the patient, but I'm not also able to make it into a conversation that goes over each of the topics that my school requires me to go through when counseling a patient. So finding that fine line is hard for me. So today I actually went over like a list-based format, which is bad. And then the second time I went through as like a person that really cared about the patient, and they said they like that more. So my instructor last semester was a little more list-based and a little more cold when he did the patient counseling. But this instructor this time is like more personable. So I'm probably gonna shift towards that side a little more when I'm getting graded. But at the same time, I'm gonna also try to do the listing as well. My quiz is basically on brand name generics, what medication is used for, as well as over-the-counter drugs and how to counsel patients for over-the-counter drugs. And that quiz went really well. I think I got like one question wrong out of all of them. And then my second class after my simulation lab, because I have to dress nicely and everything, and wear the lab coat. After that, I had my drugs and diseases class, basically where I went over anti-hyperlipidemic drugs And today in class we went over the patient case of stable ischemic heart disease and the patient counseling for that, as well as the drug therapy and what happens in it. And then we also went over acute coronary syndrome, and the same thing as for the patient case. We went over exactly what the patient needs, the patient counseling, and exactly how it happens. And I think overall it was a good class. The quiz for that one was okay. I didn't really do as well as I thought I would do, but I think the good thing about this class is that even though we just learned about material literally like yesterday, honestly, and the good thing about it is that like even though like you're not really supposed, I feel like it's very hard to do well sometimes, but I feel like it's also good because it forces you to know like, okay, I need to study this material. Like one thing I learned a lot about these teachers is that I do a really, really decent or bad on the quiz, and that helps me a lot learning how to study for the midterm, because you can see what the teacher is kind of emphasizing when they want you to study, as well as like, you need to know what parts you kind of want to study. So like what I do sometimes is that I go to see the teacher and I talk to them, I see what questions I got wrong, and I want to see what they think of how I got my approach of it. And then when I talk to them and have a dialogue with them personally, I feel like I learn kind of their focus on the material, because every teacher is different. And that's one of the things I wish I did before too as well. Like every single class, every single teacher that makes a test is different. So like one thing and one teacher is a totally different thing, a different teacher. So like for example, some teachers really emphasize the adverse effects of drugs, and some teachers really care about how the drug actually binds to the receptors or binds to the body and like inside the body. And that's a totally different thing you're studying. Like that's a lot of material to study. And I feel like one of the things I learned is that you have to constantly prioritize what you think is the most important. Because as well as when I study based on question-based studying. So that's probably the most effective way of studying, I can recall. And when I make myself find questions, it's very hard to make questions on every single thing. I do it, but like I try to do it more on what exactly they think is more important. And when you know exactly the route teacher wants you to take when you're studying, that makes making the questions so much easier to make. And then when you do that way, they're more online to figure out the answer they want. Like today as well, I figured out that one of my teachers really loves like covalent, non-covalent bonding, as well as irreversible, reversible binding. So that's going to be something I'm going to focus on a lot more in this midterm, is figuring out which drugs do which ones. Because a lot of drugs do the same thing, but knowing which ones are reversible binding, so that means that they cannot be taken off, or reversible binding, which means that they're competing for the active site or allosteric site binding. Because it's very easy to memorize the mechanism of action, like okay, this drug does this, okay, this drug does this. Knowing exactly how that happens is what they're focusing on, I feel like. So, yep, that's pretty much my day. I'll catch you guys next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.